Welcome back to my channel. My name is India Shalante, and here we talk about all things healing and self-love. And today we're going to be talking about how to build true, actual confidence. So let's get into it. We often think there's high confidence and low confidence, but I'm here to tell you that there is low confidence, and then there is fragile confidence and optimal confidence. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So first things first, what is the difference between fragile confidence and high confidence, optimal confidence? Confidence is built on performance. Optimal confidence is built on innate inner knowing. So let's hop in and get a little deeper. So fragile confidence, we are constantly trying to strive for perfection. It's so exhausting. And we are endlessly performing because our confidence is measured through what we like to call areas of contingency. Your areas of contingency are probably what was uplifted and valued in your household growing up. So let's say your parents were like really big on school and they valued education, they valued good grades. Your area of contingency might be I have to perform and get an A to feel good about myself. If I do not get an A in school, then I start to judge myself. I experience feelings of shame and anxiety. I put myself down. I'm really hard on myself. I kick myself. That type of spiraling. If that sounds like you, then you are probably exhibiting signs of fragile confidence. So perfection, endless performing, comparison, competition, seeking praise or approval are all signs that you are exhibiting fragile confidence. And when you receive praise, approval, you feel good about yourself. And in that moment, you feel like you're on top of the world. But shortly after that, when all that subsides, you're back at baseline and you kind of feel like, okay, what's the next area opportunity that I could perform and that I could prove that I am good, that I am perfect. So some very common areas of contingency is family. Family is a big one. Performance in work or school. So acclimates, if you're constantly striving for acclimates to prove yourself. Appearance is huge for us ladies because we have been taught that a lot of our worth lies in our appearance and our beauty. And so we begin to value our appearance a lot, especially growing up. It's funny how, like, when you're a kid, you're not really thinking too much about your appearance or how you're being perceived, or, just if you're beautiful, you're just existing. But as us ladies grow up, we realize that beauty and looks matter. And so often than not, one of the major areas of contingency for women becomes our beauty and our appearance. And although that's all great, it's not really giving us true optimal confidence. It's more so related to self-esteem. And that's the major difference between self-esteem and confidence. Is self-esteem is like, I know I could perform well in these areas. Here are my areas of contingency. I have self-esteem. I know I could do this. Versus confidence is this inner knowing. Optimal confidence is this inner knowing and healthy alignment of what we think and how we feel about ourselves. Yes. Healthy, optimal, true confidence is intuitive and to trust in our self-worth. And our self-worth is extremely different than our self-esteem. It doesn't live in our heads. Where fragile confidence, it lives in our heads. It's based on our performance. We're conscious of it. Optimal confidence lives in our subconscious. Yeah. That's the T. Clock it. That's the T on. So, I know this probably sounds familiar to you. I feel like we've all been hard on ourselves when we meet somebody for the first time, and let's say the social interaction didn't go the way we wanted to in our heads. And so now we feel like this person's perceiving us in a way that we would not like to be perceived. And so now we're kicking ourselves while we're down over our social performance because one of our areas of fragile confidence is perception and approval. Or let's say you're a mother, and so one of your areas of contingency is your motherhood. You're feeling good about yourself if you get your children up and do your whole routine and in bed by 8 p.m. But the moment that a day happens where that does not occur, now you're kicking yourself because you feel like you did not perform to your standards. Let's say you leave the house, you like to leave the house looking composed, outfit, hair, sleek, chic. But let's say one day you're just running late and it just wasn't feasible. Now you're kicking yourself. You don't feel good about yourself. Now you're not carrying yourself in the way you typically carry yourself because you don't really feel confident in who you are. another sign of fragile confidence. All these areas is areas that probably in our household growing up were valued and praised, and they carry with us into our adulthood. And so now we use these measure sticks on ourselves to measure how we're doing to feel good about ourselves. How can we feel good about ourselves outside of our areas of contingency? How can we embody confidence? How can we give ourselves permission to be imperfect? How do we release the control of having an area to make us feel good about ourselves? And how do we not experience shame when we aren't perfect? I make content for the girls, okay? And for the girls, a lot of times we're taught that we could build confidence. And confidence building has two different formations and formulations. So the form and the formula is different. Okay, so the outside model is where our confidence comes from the external world. And then there's the inside model that begins up close in the fiber of our being. Now, here's the problem: a lot of confidence books tell you to form the outside before you do the inside. So it's like you're cooking from the outside in instead of the inside out, and that's not going to do nothing for you. So we want to focus on building confidence from the inside of our being, the fiber of our being. We want confidence to be living within us, so then it could go outward, not outward and then inward. Because when we try to do that latter, we're working on our confidence, and the root of the tree isn't even stable. So the work has to start from within, because the explicit, the feedback, and the conscious thoughts that we're experiencing, they only make it back to the implicit world, our subconscious mind, if the stories are aligned. Let me break that down into simpler terms. Let's say you go out and one of your areas of contingency is work, and let's say you're going to work and you do really well at work and you get the promotion. The explicit world is telling you you're deserving, you are worthy. But if you don't truthfully believe that about yourself, then that's going to bounce off. Okay? That feedback loop is going to bounce off. It's not going, that truth isn't going to rest inside of you. It's going to repel, because subconsciously you're not able to accept and receive that external feedback. So we have to nurture the soil. We have to tend to our seeds, and that all starts from within. Flourishing is bottom up, starting from within. A lot of times with ladies, they tell us to work on becoming more assertive, set stronger boundaries, become more productive, like crush your goals, and then all of a sudden you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be so confident. But it ignores the fact that for you to even become assertive, you have to believe that you, yourself as a person, is something to protect. So that has to be the work you do before you even exert assertiveness. Okay? Okay. So we're focusing on stable roots to build optimal confidence, not fragile confidence, optimal confidence. So how to build optimal confidence. If you made it to this part of the video, congratulations to you, because this is where it's going to get good. I like talking about like why behind stuff, because now that we have the knowledge of why stuff doesn't work, why we've been taught what we've been taught for the longest, how things work, we can now move forward with confidence and actually putting what we're learning into practical practice. So here is a practical practice, and I have a very simple formula for you girlies. So get out your notepads, write this down. It's real simple, and you're going to be so relieved when you realize how easy this is to implement. First step to build optimal confidence as a lady is to work on your sense of belonging. Yeah, I know you didn't see that coming. But belonging is intrinsic to a woman's sense of fulfillment. And like I said, I make content for the ladies. I make content for the girlies. So yes, for women, you have to feel like you belong. Belonging is different from reflected appraisals and feedback, because they represent our conscious perception of how we're viewed by others. That does not make us feel belonged. Think about how your body feels when you're with your mother or your grandmother or somebody like that. You just innately relax. All the tension in your body subsides, and you're just chilling. You're just being you, your authentic version of yourself. There's no there's no rush of like thoughts or of like anxiety. Your nervous system is really well rested. It's chilling. That is the feeling that you get when you truthfully feel like you belong somewhere. It's intuitive, and it could best be experienced and described as this inner sense of security when around others. So if you wonder if you belong, if you feel like you have this sense of belonging yet with a friend or that you're building a relationship with, or a boyfriend, a family member, ask yourself, is my nervous system regulated when I'm with you? Because if not, then you probably don't experience belonging. But if it is, you experience belonging. It's important for you to belong with others, but most importantly, before you even belong with others, you have to belong with yourself. So often this just looks like practicing self love, the cornerstone of confidence. So showering yourself with kindness, compassion, radical acceptance of who you are. You're no longer trying to hide those parts of yourself because you're scared of how they might be perceived. We're not morphing and changing and trying to be something that we're not. We're accepting ourselves and we're embracing our authenticity. And remember, authenticity isn't a trait. It literally radiates from within. It's really good to be around other women who truthfully love themselves whole and whole, completely. Because then it's like that energy rubs off on you. Energy often is synchronized. It's belong with yourself, so you're able to belong with others. And now that you have a trusting relationship with yourself and others, you can now slip into the second component of optimal confidence, which is mastery. And so the mastery component is as simple as mastery sounds. It is setting bold goals, and when you set bold goals, you have to ensure that your goals are intrinsically driven and grounded. So don't just set goals because it's a trend. Don't set goals because you think that's what will get praise from other people. Because again, when we do that, we're falling back into that loophole of fragile confidence where it's like, I'll receive praise for doing this. So I do this, I receive approval, I get this rush of dopamine. Once it wears off, I'm back into a baseline of having to focus on my next performance. Instead, choose your goals based off what makes you happy. And so, again, you're starting to see why knowing yourself and belonging to yourself is really important for this, because if you don't really know yourself and you don't belong to yourself quite yet, you really cannot set bold goals that are authentic and intrinsic to you, because you really don't know yourself yet. So you have to set those goals. Remember that these goals start with a simple step. So get grounded and get serious about your goals. Your journey, just really break down your goals to simple steps and devote and commit yourself to your goals. I feel like there's times where I've experienced this myself, where I've belonged to myself. I had a supportive group of friends, family alike. But then when it came down to the mastery part of confidence, I would set a goal, but then I would neglect that goal. It would be hard for me to really get through the work aspect of that goal. And so I would start to become just really sad because I knew my potential and I knew like where I wanted to get, but there was something mentally blocking me from doing that. So, a part of reaching your optimal confidence is really getting serious about your goals, locking in with yourself, and being like, hey, this is my goal. I'm about to do whatever I can to get there. And the other component of mastery, basically facing adversity and persevering through it. Literally. When I wanted to sit down and make this video, I wanted to put my lashes on. I don't wear lashes anymore. So, like, I've been taking a break from my lash extensions too. And so I had to put on my, like, falsies. And I tried like 5 times to put on my falsies. They kept falling, they weren't sticking. And I told myself, like, okay, I'm not gonna make my video today. And then I told myself, like, no, girl, you got this far. You did your hair, you did your makeup. Like, you about to put on these falsies. You about to sit in front of this camera. You about to make this video. You know why that's important to me, though? Because providing information and knowledge from psychology to other ladies is like a goal of mine that makes me feel good, even if I get 30 views or not. And that goes back to the area of contingency. Like, if your area of contingency is being seen and it's attached to like an outcome of your performance, that outcome doesn't happen. And let's say this video does not go up, I'm not going to crush myself about that, because my goal was just to sit down and make it. Now, whatever else happens, that's out of my control. And I'm not basing my confidence off of that. I'm basing my confidence off of the fact that I could set a goal and I could be disciplined enough to complete the goal. And that will make me feel confident because I've mastered the goal. Okay? And this is what it looks like when we really embody the optimal confidence. Because again, like I said earlier, Optimal confidence is an alignment of what we think and feel about ourselves. It's a deep-seatedness in our enoughness. So I know this video is enough. The knowledge that I possess and how I'm delivering it to you guys is enough, whether or not it gets 100 views. Okay? So yes, that is my formula for optimal confidence, is to belong to yourself, be authentic, embrace who you are, radical acceptance, belong to others, have a supportive community, because like I said earlier, this formula is unique to women. We need to have a belonging with ourselves and others, and then we could go out and master the world and embody a lot of the masculine traits, which are discipline, performance, productivity, etc., etc., etc. Okay, before we go out in the real world and we show our face and we're performing, we have to build solid ground, solid seeds that start from within. And slowly but surely, if you're on this journey, you will start to see yourself from fragile confidence, which is so performance driven, which prioritizes male traits, praise, approval, into optimal confidence is coming from in here. I don't really even have to prove it. It's resting here in my heart. Okay. All right. And that's all I have for you guys today. I love you guys. See you in the next video.